Well, you're joining us here with a fantastic lady. It's a real delight to see you, Michele.
Thanks, Claire.
The legendary, I have to give him that title before his name, the legendary Matt Monro, your father. And this is a brilliant book that you've written, and a brilliant collection actually available for you all at QVC. 563802 is the item number. We can hear his dulcet tones in the background. For £35.98, this is back in stock because you joined us back in April.
I did, and we sold out. It was wonderful, you know. But it's a great thing because it's celebrating 25 years since he passed away. It took me 3 years to write this book, so it is the definitive life story. And we've put together the DVD, which includes the only concert that exists, which is from Australia, as well as 14 television appearances, which have taken overall 22 years to source and find.
See, 3 years writing the books, that's small fry when compared to all the work that's gone into this.
Absolutely, because the BBC wiped everything in the old days for costs and then put new programmes over it. So we lost so many programmes of Dad's. So finding those is fantastic. There's also a very rare CD on there of a Manila concert. And then, of course, you've got the brand new CD, The Greatest, which is just what it says on the label. 25 tracks, which includes the never before released I'll Never Fall in Love Again. So it's very exciting. And just for QVC, I've signed every copy of the book as well.
See, that is major. And this is the only book that has been written about your father, and actually quite right then that it is about someone that knows him so intimately and so well. What made you make that decision to start, you know, to write the book?
Because I had a near fatal car crash and I didn't know whether I was going to make it. Literally, when they were cutting me out of the wreckage, I had this awful thought that if anything happened to me, my son would never know more than his grandfather was a great singer.
You have made me go goosey at that. So that was what started this mission,
panicked,
in a way.
that literally, that you know, his origins, his roots, he wouldn't know it. And so literally, as soon as I got better, I got writing. I didn't know it was going to take me 3 years.
And almost, when I say unedited, Michele and I were talking earlier, and you said, obviously, there's a lot of cut that goes on with you know, creating a book like this. But you very definitely wanted, well, what did you want to achieve? What was your, you know, hope for the end result of the book? And did you achieve it?
Well, yes, I did achieve it. I'm very proud of that. There's never been a book before on Dad. So for me, I didn't want one of these small abridged books that told a bit of his life. I wanted the whole life story. And I didn't know there was a sort of set guideline with publishers that you only have 75,000 words in a book.
Yes.
This is 250,000.
Yes. And you can see the small print as well. Look, from your actual family album. So
yes.
That's you and your daddy.
That's me and Daddy.
Look.
I know. I mean, those are some of my most precious photographs and great times that we had. You know, he was a smashing father. Didn't see a lot of him, obviously, because he travelled 9 months of the year.
Did he really?
He really did. And he had, you know, he had to. That's where the work was. And then when he was home, he'd only be home, say, for a week. He'd be in the studios. He'd be rehearsing new material. He'd be doing photo sessions, you know, press conferences. So that even though he was home a week, it wasn't that much time that he spent with us.
So really precious moments, which I guess, you know, you've documented, you've captured here. Also his really kind of early years, the beginnings. What was his background? Did he come from a singing background?
Nothing at all. There's nothing in his background whatsoever. He's one of 5, very impoverished background, and his own father died when he was only 3 years old.
See, did you know all of this before? Like you were saying that you wanted to capture that for your son.
It was a great learning curve for me. It was like doing a massive jigsaw puzzle. You did one piece and you got really excited, and then you found you had another 1,000 pieces to go, you know. It was wonderful. It was a very emotional ride. I learned things that I never knew about him. I didn't realise how poor he was and what sort of background and struggles that he'd had. No, I didn't realise that.
But also how appreciated he was. I mean, the title here, The Singer's Singer, is what he was
to other people.
Well, this is it. He was adored by major names.
Sinatra said he was one of the 3 best singers in the world, and it wasn't just Sinatra. And then the show business people would be littering the audiences when Daddy was working, and he simply was the singer. So for me, there couldn't be another title.
I think that one of the loveliest things for me is just the ease of his voice, the personable, you know, that he is singing to me.
Yes.
Or to you, you know, it is so individual.
He
isn't
had
it?
the
Just-
ability to cross those footlights, and people actually thought, wow, you know,
He's
this is for
singing to
me.
me.
And that's lovely. And that's what endeared him to so many, because it separated him from a lot of other singers. That, and of course, the totally unique voice. I mean, his diction was amazing, his breath control was sublime.
And the span of his, you know, the notes he could get almost all in
Effortless
one fell
as well,
swoop.
you know. And this is why this collection to me is what's so special, because even if you're new to Matt Monro, you're getting a whole spectrum of things. If you're a great fan already, you're getting something you haven't had before.
So we've got, for example, we've got 25 tracks here, including the previously unreleased I'll Never Fall in Love Again. But there's some ultimate classics, Born Free, My Kind of Girl, there's kind of Hush All Over the World, Spanish Eyes. I mean, it's funny because you think, well, someone said to me, well, do you know him? It's like, well, maybe if I'd have stepped back, I think, I don't know. But you play that,
start playing the
I
music.
know him, I know that tune, I know that record, I know that sound, I know that voice. So for someone that is a true fan,
Yes.
this is an ultimate purchase. But what about for someone that, you know, just loves music? Do you think it's going to be a really beautiful buy, maybe as a present for someone
I
that
think
just
this is
appreciates
fantastic,
music?
because those are his greatest hits. There's no doubt about that. They've all been remastered as well. So even if you had them on another album before, you don't have them in this sound quality. It's absolutely amazing. And in the disc in that, of course, absolutely different, because it's a live concert from Manila.
See, that's amazing, actually. This so collector's edition here, 23 full performances. Where were they?
Hidden in the vaults of BBC, Thames and Broad. And I mean, you know, you'd ring them up and they'd say, no, I haven't got anything. But I give you a story. Everybody spells our name wrong, either M-U-N or M-O-N-R-O-E. And my
Yes.
father used to say on stage, it's very simple, M-O-N-R-O. It's an anagram of moron.
Classic.
And they were always...
He could say that. Nobody else could say that.
No, and they were misfiled, most of them, under the wrong spelling of the names.
You're joking me.
So it did take me 22 years to... I mean, even last week I found a new piece of footage in Canada. So I'll never stop looking.
It's like a quest. Although he was as famous as he was, you've obviously got the most amazing and personal memories
Oh, I do.
of your entire life with him. What about for when he was on stage? You know, can you recall when you realised he was not just Daddy, but he was the man himself? When was that?
Well, that was when we went to see Sammy Davis in Vegas, and Sammy Davis to me was fantastic. And we were sitting there, and Sammy suddenly announced my dad and said he was one of the greatest singers in the world, called him up on stage. They did about 20 minutes together and absolutely tore the place apart. And I suddenly thought, wow, he's actually one of their peers. He's not an also-ran.
No, wow, that's massive.
It was
Especially when you
massive.
think of the
I was
the humble
crying.
beginning,
You
were
know,
you?
oh yeah, it was unbelievable for me. You know, and the thing is as well, when he used to walk on stage and he would get a standing ovation before he'd even sung a note, the audience's acceptance of him as an artist without singing, it to me was extraordinary.